Yes, so when did I was really looking to start with at my whistles and flutes and things, which were, when I started, I was a jazz piano player and then a little bit of guitar, and all these instruments that came, I can see them on the floor, but they weren't a part of my musical life at all. And then somewhere along the line, I think it must have been when I was with the Rain Garden, which was at the beginning a duo of sitar, tabla player Carl Pemberty and myself, and we yes, did world music duo, mostly guitar sitar, and we slowly began picking up, both of us, more exotic instruments from around the world. So, and a tin whistle was a cheap thing to buy, and I didn't learn with a book or anything. I was just making things up then. Certainly with the Rain Garden, I don't think there were any tunes I played on the tin whistle. We recorded it more when there became more of us, but in the band, and did multi-track recording. But no, I always carried one in my pocket. That was my way of learning, and I would play whilst I walked across the park. And if I found a reverby place, a reverby spot, I would a nice echoey staircase, then I would always drag it out at that point. And for this I set up some reverb, which is a tricky thing because don't want feedback or anything. But I may as well do a bit. This would have been the first actual tune, Irish tune, I learned, and that was with the Storm Thieves. And I got it from Alan Stivell, who's the Breton Celtic harper, and various other instruments as well, but I was a big fan of Alan Stivell. So he played this tune, which he titled Porto Mageisha, which I guess was the Gaelic name for it, but much later I found people were calling it, in the Irish band, Morrison's Reel, Morrison's Jig. But we played it with the Storm Thieves and recorded a kind of rocky version in our first album. So let's warm myself up with that. Porto Mageisha, as I still mentally called it. Mageisha. Oh, hi Tig. No, I was a bit late too, don't worry. So that was the first tune, I think, proper Irish tune I learned on that. And then what else did I do? I started various tricks with the whistle, with singing into it, the kind of thing. And people think I got that from Jethro Tull, but I didn't actually. It was with a Czech jazz flutist called Jerzy Stiven, who plays flute and all kinds of saxes and things, but he was a big one for doing that, and that's kind of where I got it. After a while, I developed my two-whistle trick, which was it stood me in good stead. And I wrote this tune called I called it Rainbow Reel, which because I didn't know the difference between a jig and a reel. And it took a German lass to tell me on tour that is not a reel, it is a jig. So I changed the spelling when I recorded it to R-E-A-L, so Rainbow Reel. And yeah, this has been a standard. I haven't actually played this tune, Rainbow Reel, for quite a while because it's been taken over by another tune I did with Gavan. So I was just trying to remember playing this one. The trick is there's two holes taped up so that you're always playing in harmony if you've got the same three fingers there. Okay, Rainbow Reel, what can I remember? That was very roughly it. Rainbow Reel. Then somewhere along the line, this was on German tours. I bought one of these, which is an Irish low whistle. And I saw them in the shops, but I never thought I'd buy one because I didn't think they'd be loud enough for the kind of music that I was, amplified music in busy places. But I was playing in Germany, and this wonderful fella, Falco, came up to me at a concert and gave me this whistle and said, "You must have this." And I got it home and I found it's worth over £100. So, and it's been a lucky thing for me because I'd never have taken one up, and it's been a big part of what I do now, and it's certainly come into its own with all kinds of music, New Age music and Celtic music, and in fact this album Zen Sky is almost entirely focused around this whistle still. And it's not actually, everyone says what brand is it, and I don't think it is. It's not branded in any way. I think this was made by somebody as a one-off because it looks like an Overton whistle, which is the big famous type, but it's not, and I've not found anyone like it. But it's a low D whistle, and what tune did I first learn on it? I think it was Kadashin Tantashin, I think. machine, which I recorded as an intro on a song, I think, on my Flying Home album from '96, so that's how early that one went back. Then again, pretty early days with the rain garden, I picked up these. Well, this one to start with. Actually, that one, it's a kalimba, as you probably see me play. Got 2 holes at the back, which makes it do that. And this one actually is the replacement. My other one, just my thumbnails had gone for so many years along these grooves, hitting these grooves, that they got deep furrows, and actually this thing holding the metal tines together wore off and broke. So I got one of these for a reason. I got this particular make for a reason. That I was in a folk club in Leicester, and a Breton guy called Paul Hualu came up with this, and he went round the club and he could play jigs and reels on it, which I could never. And he just charmed the whole room, and I just thought, what is that? Took me a while to find the make. It's McKinney, South African, and it's been a big. I then started writing songs for it. Long Days Waiting by the Shore was one, and I might do that one later. And I just got into writing kind of drone songs, usually because I like the minor key. And then out of the blue, where my friend Dan was working in the guitar shop at Sheehan's, which that's a good name, isn't it, Rita? Sheehan's, which is no longer with us, the shop, but he said, we've had a second-hand big one come up. Do you want it? So I said yes. And that meant I could do a different key, and it's actually nicely more resonant. So I wrote a few more songs for that one. So that was a big deal with that one. Then also with the Rain Garden, we were still very struck by Ellen Stivell's Celtic harp. We couldn't afford it. I'm talking then me, Dave Everett and Dan Britton, we were very keen on these, getting one, but they were too expensive. Then we found zithers, and they were quite cheap. I found when you recorded them, it wasn't that difficult, different in sound. So now Carl Pebbody, the sitar player, made me this one, so it's a very special one. It's not the old, actually the old one I bought first, then is over there, but an old German one. So that's been a big thing, especially for the New Age atmospheric music, and that's not easy to play live. It's not really loud enough to play live. And then the dreaded bombarde came into my life. Being so into Breton music, I had to get a bombarde. And this one is actually I found this one much later, and it's much smoother than the other one. Believe me, it's rough, but it's rough when I play it. But yes, I've usually found a place for it. I don't know if it's 50-50 whether this will work. I haven't played it in some time and my lungs aren't great, so. Stop there. I famously passed out at one time at Hallerton Church when I was playing with the Rain Garden, and that was I went for a high note and suddenly kind of blacked out and boom, got a huge round of applause. So I always remember that time and that bombard for that reason. Getting close to turn now. Anything else I can show? Just other whistles and blues. So I will sing a little song that I did long ago. My sea whistle. And this is Long Days Waiting by the Shore, which again I wanted to sing because in the early days I didn't really know what Celtic music was before I heard a lot of this Alan Savell, and I got into Donald Lunny and Moving Hearts and things like that were a big influence. And I kind of was doing a lot of making up Celtic tunes and making up Celtic songs, and this was my very first, and it was, Long Days Waiting by the Shore. Let's get a bit of I am facing toward the ocean on a wild, barren shore, and I'm waiting for a loved one that I never shall see more. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. I keep my eyes wide open for a small wooden boat, though I know it would be a miracle if it still remained afloat. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. Sometimes I can hear their voices in amongst the seagulls cry, and the wind whistles their names with a whisper and a sigh. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. It's a long day's waiting by the shore, it's a long day's waiting by the shore. I am facing toward the ocean on a wild, barren shore, and I'm waiting for a loved one that I never shall see more. Long day's waiting, there it is. And yes, my first attempt at a folky and a Celtic-y song. So I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll probably be snipping this up and maybe putting it on YouTube and sharing it that way. So thanks for coming again. Appreciate it, and see you and another time in the music Shuttlecraft. All the best to you. Peace and love.